beat the Kings, who are just skidding at 21-59. But the real story is what happened with 3:15 left in the game with the Kings up one. You can see it here. Doug McDermott fouled Seth Curry with the Warriors in the bonus, sending Curry to the line. It was a really strange sequence. And then it led to Draymond Green saying just something's not right here post-game. Listen.
I saw a team tonight foul Seth Curry with 3 minutes to go in the game for no reason. In the penalty. I get fined when I do wrong. Just fine the hell out of people. You know, we love taking money from players. Keep fining the teams. I've seen 2 fines. And we all know everybody tanking. But you've seen 2 fines. If it was players, we snatched that money in a heartbeat. Why isn't it the same? And we see 12 teams tanking. We've seen 2 fines. If my math serves me correctly, that's 10 that ain't been fined. Just some quick math. It could be wrong, so don't judge me if it's wrong. But we're going to keep that same energy when it comes to teams, when it comes to officials, when it comes to everybody but players. We don't keep that same energy. But it's a players' league.
All right, so Draymond is referring to the fines that were given out for manipulating the integrity of the game. We remember this a couple of months ago. His math is correct. 12 minus 10 is indeed 2 fines that were handed out by the NBA. What is the solution to tanking? Is Draymond Green right here?
Well, listen, we've discussed the solutions to tanking. There's a bevy of ideas that they could come up with, and we've addressed that. As it pertains to Draymond Green's words, he's 1,000% right. He's absolutely right in pointing out what he pointed out. What did he say? He sat up there and said, we know there's tanking going on. Why is it that players are the primary ones being fined? We've even seen the commissioner, Adam Silver, basically have a press conference talking about it's something that we need to address and it's something that we intend to address. So clearly it's dissuasive measures that are being entertained in an effort to stop the tanking. And he's talking about the teams, not the players, because when it comes to tanking, it's about the teams. It's not about the players. The players are doing what they're told to do. We all know this, okay? From an organizational perspective, it's coming right on down. When you talk about player participation, player activity, sometimes it's player load management and stuff like that, and we're looking at that, and it's shameful. Sometimes it's invoked and provoked by the team. You know, your strength and conditioning coach, your medical staff. You got the coaches on camera telling us they're at the mercy of these guys. J.J. Redick, just a couple of weeks ago, sooner than that, when Luka Doncic got hurt, what did he say? He said he was examined at halftime by the medical staff. We've seen other situations in Milwaukee with Doc Rivers. I'm in the middle of this. We really have no control, but I'm the one up here in front of the camera having to answer this question. But this is about Giannis and essentially the medical staff and orders coming down from up top. The game is changing. The world of analytics has taken over. You have owners who want to appear knowledgeable, and as a result, hire data analysts and people like that who speak their language to run their organizations, so they're communicating with owners and speaking their language, got the owners thinking they know just as much basketball as everybody else. And you're imposing your will upon people who are subordinates that work for you, obviously, to get them to do what they're doing. Somebody like Draymond is tacitly, if not directly, pointing this kind of stuff out and saying it's supposed to be a players' league, but there's stuff going on that the players are being influenced by and they're being ordered essentially to do, and nobody is finding these guys and nobody is talking about these guys. All anybody wants to talk about is the players. Draymond Green is right, period. I have no pushback with what he says. Floor is yours.
Wendy.
I typically opt out of Draymond Green's straw man arguments because, it's one of his techniques that he's particularly adept at. He is correct that teams get away with stuff and don't get fined, whereas players get fined on a daily, weekly, if not daily basis. That's a reasonable point. Why he's choosing to make this foul that Doug McDermott, I don't know what happened with that foul. It's a strange play. Doug McDermott is a cerebral player. He's probably going to be a coach like his father was. I don't know what happened with that play, but Draymond is correct that those fines that Adam Silver handed down and then quit fining teams who are doing things way more egregious That absolutely is strange. I agree. I will just say that we are in a time right now where the entire NBA, and I'm talking about the league office, players themselves, coaches for sure, and the executives are just trying to get to the finish line. They're trying to whistle their way past the graveyard because I'm telling you, night in and night out, there are things happening in games that if you are paying attention will have you slap your head. There is crazy stuff happening in this league outside the top teams, night to night. And if you take a point-by-point look at it, what happened with this Doug McDermott thing wouldn't rank in the top 100 of things that I've seen in the last month. So, yes, it's a problem. Yes, they got to do something about it. No, I'm not sure what they're going to do. Yes, a lot of people are guilty, and that's the way it is. And if you want to have this conversation, we can have it. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to do largely what the rest of the league is going to do. I'm going to whistle and try to get to the playoffs because if you spend more time analyzing this, it's going to drive you crazy. I promise you.
There are more blowouts in the NBA last weekend, more blowouts, more than 20 points in the history of the league, 80 years. More blowouts. The games were a disaster. Go watch a Bulls game on the road, losing 160-10. Here's one thing I would say about Draymond, and I didn't, the play is weird, and I'll let you guys handle the play. McDermott's a smart guy. Why would you foul there? This is the same Golden State team and the same coach who, when they came to Madison Square Garden on a Sunday about 3 weeks ago, nobody played. Nobody played. So that coach, who was a great coach, came from the Popovich rundown, who didn't play Duncan and Ginobili and Parker on national TV in Miami, and Stern fined him like you wouldn't believe. That Coach Kerr, nobody load managements more than him. And when they came to New York a couple of Sundays ago on NBC, go check a look at the lineup. Draymond didn't play. None of them played. It was a disaster. It was an embarrassment to the league. So I understand his point last night. That was terrible what the Kings did. But the Warriors are a team that can't say anything about anybody else based on what they do.
I don't know about 12 teams tanking, and Wendy, maybe you'd know better than me. It feels like 10 teams tanking, the 10 teams that are not eligible for the play-in of the playoffs.
I would say 9, but yeah.
9, 10 teams, that's one.
I'm in a 9-10 range.
Right.
I'm in a 9-10.
That's probably the more accurate situation here. But the blowouts and the tanking strategy, at some point we're going to run out of draft picks too. Like, I know we got the lottery, but beyond you just have all these teams tanking for lottery picks. Like, you used to tank for the number 1 or number 2 pick. That's what we see sometimes in the NFL. Yep. Now, we've got 9, 10 teams tanking?
Well, you got a good draft. They got a lot of good players.
Correct.
All right. We got to go. Start lineup for the Golden State Warriors against the New York Knicks at the Garden a few weeks ago, what Doggy was talking about. Podziemski, Post, Guy Santos, Will Richard, and some guy, Malevi Lyons.
National television, too.
National television.
Yeah,
that was the starting lineup for the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, that's
Wendy, quick response to that?
I would just tell you that there are players that are getting pulled out of games in like the middle of the third and fourth quarters who are having the games of their lives, and they're getting pulled out of games because their teams might win. They're getting it's the incentive structure is wild. In fact, Poor Bryce Sensabaugh from the Utah Jazz is having an incredible day. They played the Thunder the other day, and he was thrilled. You want to know why? Because he was allowed to play 40 minutes. He keeps scoring 20 points in 20 minutes. He finally got to play 40 minutes because his team had no chance of winning. He scored 34. The whole thing is upside down right now.
That's terrible. All right, Wendy, thank you. Coming up, more details continue to emerge from the brewing tension between Giannis and the Bucks. Shams Charania, who's been all over this story, will join First Take next. Plus, Michael Malone was introduced as the head coach at North Carolina yesterday. How quickly will he get those Tar Heels back to the top? That's next.